we were talking before we got started about when you recruited me to Rutgers a long time ago, and then I was thinking on the way here. I was thinking on the way here about your time even at Western Michigan. In what way do you feel like you've changed the most as a coach from then to now?
Oh, wow. I don't know if smarter is a great word, because I'm not saying that, but I think you've matured in your role. College football's changed a lot in 13 years. This is my 13th year being a head football coach. It's changed an awful lot, right? Yeah. So I think you have to have the ability to adapt, but not change who you are. Mm-hmm. I think there's so many things that change in college football that it tests who you really are, and it tests your value system, and it tests if you really want to change wholesale. And we haven't done that. We've kept our life program the same. In fact, we've amplified our life program, and I think that's what's made us a little bit different in this new modern world. Yeah. But we are truly a life program. So we've adapted, but we just haven't changed. I've learned a few things. I've learned control is for amateurs. That's a pretty big statement coming from a head football coach that's in charge of a lot of people's lives.
What do you mean by that, control is for amateurs?
It means, I think when I first started out, I had to control everything. You know, I had meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, and it's almost micromanagement, right? You're a first-time head coach. I was 32 years old. I was the youngest head football coach in the country. And I think I really tried to control everything with every decision, had to wait for me to get something done. And we went 1-11. I mean, we were brutal. And I was like, I can't do this. And you're hiring great coaches. I think that's one of the great strengths of a head coach. Can you hire really well? I feel like we've done a really good job of that. And our coaches do a tremendous job of it. So the control piece is allowing our staff to be the best staff they can be, trust them in their roles, allow them to grow, and then it's okay if they leave. Yeah. I want coaches who want to be head coaches, coordinators. I want them to be able to move up. So the control piece in that way is that I've learned that I can't control everything. And I think you have to go through that as a head coach. When I've had a really good football team full of really good people who are also really good players, we've won. When I've had players who maybe not so good, that maybe they weren't such good people, maybe we weren't connected as a team, we lost. And maybe we did certain things the same way, but it's a player's game. And so if I can look at how can I become a better head football coach, relinquish some of that control, and to all the people who do their jobs, trust them to do their jobs, I feel like we can elevate this program. And the last thing I think I've learned the most is this too shall pass. I actually tattooed it on my Achilles heel, because that was something that I had to learn as a young head coach. Was we always say this too shall pass when we're talking about the negative. Somebody says, don't worry, this will pass. And it's all negative. But what I had to learn was, I mean, our job is constant crisis, interrupted by brief success. And if you don't take that brief success and multiply it and celebrate it, that's going to pass too. Yeah. And it's the disease of success. And if you don't stop and celebrate and put a cut to it and find out that it is worth it and celebrate that with your team, it's all going to run together and everybody's going to be miserable. So I've learned an awful lot, believe it or not, in 13 years. And we can spend another 5 hours on what I've learned.
I'm fascinated by it, but I'm glad you mentioned the piece about hiring coaches, because a big follower base or listeners of this podcast are young coaches, high school coaches, young coaches in college. What are the things you look for maybe in your program when you have a young GA or a young analyst or an assistant that makes you say, okay, that guy could be a position coach someday for us? Yeah,
it's all about the person. It's all about their how, their work ethic, their dedication. Don't tell me what you want, show me. This whole program has been built on how. Right? The crack on your shoulder, the blue collar mentality, your unconquerable will. We call it the necktie mentality, always attacking, never full. And I'm looking for people like that. I was told a long time ago by a really good CEO that hire really good people and then train them what to do. Right? And then you're going to have a really good culture. And we've done that. Our defensive coordinator, Danny Collins, is in his 13th year with me. He was a student coach. He was going to school when I was at Western Michigan as a head coach, and he was just helping out for free. He was sleeping in the janitor closet. Now, I didn't know that much at the time, because you have a lot of these student coaches who think they want to be coaches, but he has coached every position on our defense. He's been a GA and quality control coach at 2 different places, Western Michigan, and then came here. And now he's a defensive coordinator in the Big Ten, and he's earned everything that he's gotten. I love coaches who have earned it. I love coaches who have had to do it a little bit of a different path, the harder way. And I love from elevating within. And I think there's too many people who see maybe what coaches make at the highest level, say, well, I just want to go there. Go to the coaches convention. Go walk around that coaches convention at the end of the year and see the thousands of football coaches,
jobs. Yeah.
high school, college, pros, looking for jobs. And it humbles you. And I make sure I always remind our staff, I'm always reminded by that when I go to the convention, that this is a privilege to do what we do. It's not anybody's right to be a coach. And I think we have a staff they're all similar to Danny Collins' story, I think, which makes them appreciate what they do and give everything they have every day.
Yeah. One of the things I'm curious about is in this era of college football, there's a lot of business decisions you have to make about your roster. And that's changed really in the last few years where, you used to it's a little bit more transactional. I know you're doing everything you can to not be that way. And I think you balance it really well. Players love playing for you. You're honest with them. Talking to Drake, again, like they love being around you. But how do you balance that where you got to do what's best for the program and say, like, this is what's best for the team, but I also love this player and it may not make sense?
Transparency, lots of communication, lots of talks. I think that's really critical for a head coach and his football team, where I think that we're getting in a world where that's getting farther apart, where somebody else might be dealing with the players and making decisions about the players, and the head coach is just coaching. I love all of it. And I want to be involved in all those decisions with our GM and player personnel and the player. And I think that you can have transactional relationships. There's nothing wrong with that. Our college football world now is built with that involved in it. Nothing wrong with that. It's important, right? Players should be paid. They've earned that piece. But that doesn't mean you can't have this transformational program. So we have a transformational program, life program, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually. Every day, our players have become better men become better football players. But that doesn't mean there can't be transactions into that. So when you are selecting and finding the right fit, hence recruiting, you're asking people, what do you value? Like, what does your family value? And if money's one, I can't take them. Because at Minnesota, we're never going to be the highest bidder. So for me, I've got to find that balance as I recruit them with the parents that also see the value of the life program, that want their sons to be able to develop, because the education's critical, right? Giving somebody money and at 18 years old and giving them $500,000. I mean, we both would have loved that in college, right? But we probably also weren't ready for that. With all the responsibility that comes along with that and all the pitfalls that come along with that. So there has to be this life educational program around that transactional piece. And I think we have a great balance of that. I think our players are very honest with us. They're transparent with us. We have multiple talks about money through life programs, but also within the head coach's office. And I feel like they're comfortable talking about it. And I think that's where I think that sets us apart a little bit. They're comfortable talking about it to us. And we've had a lot of players. I mean, I think we have the fifth highest retention rate in the country amongst Power 4 schools. So that means, and we're not paying everybody top 5 highest, I promise. But I think that says a lot about the type of young people we have here. Again, not saying money's not important, not saying that, but we've got to find where it fits in the value system first before we take the next step with that young man.